What's up YouTube? I'm back again with another Sanctum video, and for this video I thought I would focus a little bit more on deck building. And there's all kinds of different strategies for people when they build decks. I mean, you can try to go for speed, you can try to go for longevity. I always have trouble saying that word. Longevity? Lasting longer than the other person. I don't know why I have so much trouble with that word. Longevity. Yeah. It's also a late night. It's almost midnight. Yeah. So, yeah, you can go for not crowd control really so much, but like board control, recruit control. You can go, heavy on the, hand-based combat or missile-based combat. You can create a monster deck. I think we used to call those weenie decks. No, I might be thinking about Magic the Gathering. We had a name for monster decks, but I don't remember what they were called. Maybe it was a weenie deck. I don't remember. You can go for just complete chaos if you want to play on making. Attrition, denial. There's all kinds of different strategies. One of the big things you want is to make sure you have a good mana curve. You want to have a lot more cards in your deck that are lower mana cost, that if you get a really good shuffle, you'll pull cards with escalating mana costs. You don't want to end up getting your starting hand and having 5 cards in your hand that are all killer cards that you love to play, but they all cost 6 or more mana. At best, you won't get those out until turn 4 if you capture both towns on turn 4 or get a burst. You can put cards in that don't necessarily meet your theme, but if you do, you want to make sure that they're cards that you can get out quickly, that you don't mind discarding if you don't need, if they come up before you're ready for them, or cards that are going to be a benefit to your deck in some way. I'm going to show you kind of the process that I follow when building a deck. First, I decide what house I want to play, and for this video I think I'm going to build a, let me see what decks I've already got that are mine and not, see, I've got a 3-color Justice, a 3-color Life, Body, a 3-color Gigantic Hope deck, regular Gigantic Hope deck, Mind, Unmaking, that's pretty gigantic, and a War. Both of my nature decks are Iron Fist decks, so let's go with the nature deck. So nature, it is world and order, I believe. And if you're not sure, you can always unfilter everything so you see just the cards of the house that you want. And yeah, world and order. Now I gotta clear my filters because I don't want just cards from that house. I used to know all the houses backwards and forwards. That was 15 years ago when I used to play this game for hours and hours every day. So with this, I am going to be going for an archer deck because nature, their archers get they get a bonus in the first round of combat, +1 missile damage. Nature has a lot of cards that can disrupt the geography. I mean, they literally have a card called Geomancy that causes all non-structured terrain to be randomly regenerated. You never know what you're going to get. That can hurt you or it can help you. So let's see. This is a pretty good one to have. Abatement. I'll toss a couple in there. Terrain change spells. I generally like to keep a couple in any deck that I build if they have it. Just because, like, if you're playing against war, you'll find yourself up against a lot of lava and a lot of volcanoes. If you're playing against making, you'll find yourself up against a lot of mountains. If you're playing against unmaking, there's that void, which is always a problem. There's also another spell called Changing Lands, which causes the terrain to shift through a different land type every turn. Despair can make water, so can Nature. Nature can make a lot of water really quick. I've filled up most of the board with water on a Nature deck before because of two spells. Inundate, which makes the spell or the square you cast it on turn into a water. And then Deluge, which makes, for the next 2 turns, I think it is, every square that's beside a water square becomes water. So if you have a few water squares already on the board, and then you put some strategically in other places, you can cast a Deluge. Bam! You've got a quarter to half of the board filled with water. If you can get another Deluge out the next turn, you can basically make every square that isn't a town water. I've managed to pull it off, I think, twice in 20 years. What's really fun, though, is if you're playing against the Despair deck, and you make the whole board water, and then they make the whole board ice. Because they have something called Ice Age, which turns every water square into ice. I've done that once. I was playing against a friend. We were talking while we played. I mean, we were on computers in the same room. And I wanted to try it. So we set it all up. It was an unranked game. I don't even think he had a ranked account. But we set up the board. We turned the entire board into water. I waited until he had an Ice Age. Or he might have waited until I had an Ice Age. But we turned the entire board into ice and then just spent our time sliding around. Because when you hit ice, you keep sliding until you hit a terrain that's not ice. So then it's a matter of trying to aim yourself at the Sanctum when you slide. It was a lot of fun. What was really fun is I think we had one square, maybe it was a town, that if you hit the town, you would stop sliding. But you could use a fleetness to move 2 spaces, so you could go through the town and end up at the other end of the board. I think that's how we ended up getting to a Sanctum to end the game. Anyway, so Abatement's a fun card. Or it's a useful card. Animus of World. Well, first off, World is the primary for Nature. When you cast Animus of World, minion gets +3 maximum current hit points, and Animus of World becomes a 3 mana spell and goes back into your hand. Cast it again, they get 3. The minion can get 3 plus maximum current hit points, and it becomes a 4 mana spell and goes back in your hand. Playing in the AI, just seeing what I could do, I've managed to get these Animus cards up to like 32 casting cost. I think it was the highest I ever got one before I got tired of it and discarded. Mainly because my hand was full of Animus and I wasn't pulling anything else. So yeah, I'll toss those in there. I'm not going to make a 3-color deck. Back to Nature dispels all spells on the globe. We'll do a couple of those. I'm not doing 2 colors, so I don't need Balance of Mystery. Toss in a couple of Bark Skin. Bellwether is very useful against decks that like to use group spells against you. Bellwether creates a Satyr Swordsman that does not attack, and the group cannot be targeted by enemy group spells. He's very useful in any Nature deck. Belvario's Horn. I've never really used that one very much. Biting Wind is another one where each round the casting cost gets higher, except it doesn't matter if you cast. It doesn't go back into your hand when you cast it, but you can hold it because you can play it on any minion, and it does 2 points of damage for every mana in the casting cost. So if you let this get up to say 4 casting cost, now it does 8 damage. That'll kill most unmodified minions. If you let it get to 5 mana, it'll kill any unmodified minion. So it's always good to have at least one of those. Definitely want Bow of Quickening since this is going to be an archer deck. Even though it's secondary mana, gotta have it. I don't usually use the spiders that much. Gotta have my bursts. Deflection is great because it helps you survive some fights because they're damaging themselves when they hit you. Definitely need a couple of Circle of Wisdoms just to get rid of any negative spells put against you. For this deck, I want 4 Delusions because I am going to try to build a water deck. Dionysia, she's not the most useful hero. She is good in that as long as she's alive. She's actually not the one I thought she was. I'm thinking about the life one. The life hero means that you always have initiative as long as she's alive, no matter who got the last town. What she does is she makes any swordsman in your group and the other group not do any damage. That's great if you go up against a monster war swordsman who's got 12 attack, hand damage. Well, now he's got 0. Can be very, very helpful against some combat-centered decks. Otherwise, she's not very useful. Druid. Cast on an archer. He gets +1 missile damage, cannot be targeted by individual abomination or mind spells. And if he's standing in a forest square, he generates +1 world for the group owner. That's a handy spell to have. Dryad's Favors. Cast on a recruit. Recruit's removed from the game. New recruit of the same nation and class is created in the square, and the new recruit disappears for turn of casting +3. Now, what's really cool with that one is say they have one person guarding in their town. I cast that on that person, they disappear, I fleetness my way into the town. Wait, I'd have to gale force, I guess, because fleetness is a body spell. As long as I keep someone in that town every turn, they won't reappear. It's helpful. I've never used this one before, but I like it for an archer deck. This one's really mainly good against life, hope, and making. They're the 3 that are most likely to create colonies. Life and hope by using settlement, making by using found city. Justice sometimes uses found city as well. It's 10 casting cost. I'm not going to put it in my deck. Toss in a couple of forestation, just turns the square into forest. If you fortitude, definitely want some fusillade. Cast on group with archers. Archers in group get +1 attack rate in combat round 1 only. Gale Force is like a forced march in war or fleetness in body. It makes you move 2 spaces on the turn, but it works for every single unit that on the board that's moving that turn. So that can be fun. I've won games with that one. Geomancy is a toss-up. I'm not looking to play a chaotic game. I'll toss a couple of hells. Just 2. I don't want 3. Healing Balm, that can be useful. Healing Spring. Need a couple of monsters in there just to slow people down. I don't want the ice caps. Ill Winds. Oh yeah. Ill Winds is a very good one for an archer deck. Immersion can be useful. Inundate. If I'm doing a water deck, I need 4 Inundate. Definitely the Curly Arrows. I'll put in a couple of Jaguar's Blood. That's cheap. Definitely want the Lightning Bolts. Mountain Climb. You're seeing I'm starting to put in some low casting cost cards. That's because I really need to make sure that I have a good, my mana structure is good, that I'm not pulling a lot of large cards early. Oh, I can make more water that way. Nice. +1 armor. I'll take 2 of those. I won't use it very much, but I don't need clarity or mystery. God, I'm up to 133 cards already. I did not mean to make this deck quite this big. I'm not looking to create a lot of forests. Definitely want the Sign of Order. Huh, I'll put a couple of those in. That could be fun. I don't need any swordsman. I don't care about that. Ooh, uproot. I've only got one, I'll use it. Oh, I can only have water breathing or water walking. I can't have both. Will-o-wisp was very important. If you watched my nature video, you know that. You gotta have that one. Alright, 185 card nature deck. Wow. This will be interesting. Alright, so when I save my decks, I save it with the I save it with the name of the house and how many cards are in it. Some people have different ways of doing their decks. That's what I do. So that's just a look at my mindset when I'm building a deck. You'll see I skipped over a lot of cards. I didn't explain all of the cards, but you've seen some of them in some of my other videos. If you haven't, go watch my other gameplay videos. I'm going to do a gameplay video next with this deck. And then that's probably going to be it for tonight. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button. If you haven't played Sanctum, you can download it for free and play at playsanctum.net. If you want to know more about the different houses and how the game really works, I've got a lot of gameplay videos, plus one where I explain a little bit of the history of the game and go through the deck builder, explain what the different types of cards are, what the different houses are. Go check it out. I also have a channel where I do base covers. I've got over 400 videos on that channel. It's youtube.com, Adam Plays Bass. Got a Patreon, got a Facebook, got an Instagram. Links to all those will be down in the description below, as well as a link to playsanctum.net. Until next time, see ya.